Hi everyone, here is just a short video reviewing information about the Dagesh, which is the little dot that appears in our Hebrew letters. Um, I would say it's a somewhat important topic. It's not necessarily something that you have to know or be able to repeat necessarily, but it is kind of one of those things that's useful information as we go down the road learning Hebrew. So, sort of the better grasp you have on this, the easier it'll make some other things down the road. So the dagesh is the dot within the letter. And remember, this was not originally part of the text of the Bible, but these little dots and the vowels were added to help people remember how to read the Bible correctly, or at least correctly in the eyes of the people that were producing the text or reproducing the text. So here we have a dagesh in a bet, which makes that letter make a B sound. You probably remember that when this letter appears without the dagesh, it makes a V sound, like V as in vase, as opposed to B as in boy. So as we've noticed, and you probably have a pretty good grasp on this, is that the dagesh makes a difference in the sound that the letter makes sometimes for particular letters. But as we mentioned in class, it can also indicate the fact that a letter is being doubled, so a doubling of the letter's sound. Um, and in terms of pronunciation, this is not something terribly important because we as English readers don't really emphasize doubled letters so much, but it will be important to know as we start to understand syllables in Hebrew words. So it is kind of an important piece of information. So it can either change the sound, or it can mean that the letter sound has been doubled, or it can be either or both for certain letters. And here's where the confusion comes in. For particular letters, if you have a dagesh, it could be that the dagesh was put there to simply change the sound or to make sure that you read the correct sound, or it could mean doubling. And sometimes you don't know, and you have to kind of figure that out using other circumstances. So here we have our Hebrew alphabet that you learned last week. So here are, unless I've messed up, all of the letters. And within the alphabet, excuse me, we have certain categories of letters, which are called gutturals. So that's the aleph, the hey, the het, and the ayin. And these are called gutturals because originally the letters sounds are made in the back of the throat. For us, the ayin and the aleph are silent. The het is, you can probably tell, that's kind of made in the back of the throat. And a hey is, yeah, it's kind of coming from breath in the back of the throat. So for whatever reason, the language distinguishes these letters in a particular way. Now, for purposes of this discussion, we also add the letter resh in with this group of gutturals. And I think your handout calls these the throaty five. So the aleph, hey, het, ayin, and resh are a group of letters for purposes of this discussion. And what's important to know is that these letters never have a dagesh. And if you think about it a little bit, it makes sense because if a sound is being made in the back of the throat, maybe the language wasn't very predisposed to thinking about that letter being able to be doubled. Um, so, like I said, it kind of makes sense that you probably wouldn't have a doubled silent letter or a doubled h sound. So, in any event, these letters never have a dagesh. They just don't ever have them. So, there are other letters in the alphabet and I've put them up here in green just to identify them. So when you see a Dagesh in any of these letters, it most certainly means that the letter is being doubled, because these aren't letters where the sound is changed at all by a Dagesh. So it's not there for sound purposes. It's there to indicate doubling. So if you see a Dagesh in a green letter, it most certainly means that the letter is doubled. So for example, when we have a Dagesh in a mem, it means actually two M sounds are represented by this Dagesh. Technically or linguistically, this has been called a Dagesh forte. So the word forte means strong, meaning that I guess it's a very strong M because it's doubled. I don't know, I guess that's how they thought of it. Um, so here we have the rest of the letters, which we talked about in class, which are the Bagad Kafat letters. So Bagad Kafat is just a little way of trying to remember and identify what these letters are. So the B stands for bait, the G stands for gimel, the D stands for dalet, the K stands for kaf, the F stands for pay, and the T stands for tav. So these are letters, as we mentioned in class, where the pronunciation historically was different, and this difference, or the possibility of difference, was marked with a Dagesh historically. However, in our modern pronunciation, we only make this distinction with three letters, which you already know. The bait can be either b as in boy or v as in vase. The kaf can be either k as in, I don't know, cake or something, and can, without the dagesh, makes a ch sound like as the end of the word bach. And the pay can be either an F sound as in fight, or a PH sound as in, I don't know, uh, or can be either a P sound as in pirate, or an F sound as in fight. Sorry about that. So my Dagesh is a little hard to see in the pay here. If you knew how hard it was to make these Hebrew letters come up on the screen, you would have some sympathy for me. But just trust me, the pay here has the Dagesh. So anyway, in modern pronunciation, we only make this distinction with three letters. This is known as Dagesh Lene, or weak Dagesh, meaning it's only changing sound, but it's not doubling letters. Um, when these letters appear at the beginning of the word, they almost always have a dagesh, and that is true actually of all the Bagad Kafat letters. That when they appear at beginnings of words, they have a dagesh. So that's why, if you're asking yourself, why is this dagesh here? That's why it's there. So here's where the problem comes in, and I don't know if you've thought this through yet, but if a Bagad Kafad letter has a Dagesh, is it there for pronunciation purposes? In other words, is it a Dagesh Lene, or is it a weak Dagesh? Or does it mean doubled letter? And for the Bagad Kafat letters, you don't know exactly. So you have to kind of look at the word carefully. And down the road, there will be clues. You'll understand conditions under which the language doubles letters. But just remember, when you have a Dagesh and a Bagad Kafat letter, you have to think a little bit, like, why is this here? So just kind of posing that problem to you, and we'll work those out as we go along. So one more little tricky thing about a Dagesh. We remembered that a Vav, um, with the dot next to it, is one way to write an oo vowel sound. So you know that this is an oo vowel sound. So how do you know if what you're looking at is an oo vowel, or is it a vav with a dagesh? Is it a doubled V sound? So how you know is if it appears with some sort of vowel. So on the top one, we definitely know that it's an U vowel because it has no other associated vowel with it. Versus a double letter has to have some sort of vowel going along with it. So in this case, the vowel is a schwa, which we haven't covered yet in class, but it makes an sound. So this would be basically the sound this letter would make would be vuv, something like that. So a V with an vowel and a V again because they're doubled. So the reason I'm bringing this up is a little bit down the road we'll be doing a read out loud oral passage, and it has one of these in it. So just wanted to make you aware of that. Anyway, that's it for Dagesh. If you review this information and get familiar with it, I think you'll find it helpful down the road. It's not vital that you sort of are able to reproduce all this information, but knowing it will definitely help you. So review it, maybe watch the video a few times, read about it in your book, and try to master the annoying little dot in the language, the helpful little dot in the language. Thanks and have a great day. Bye-bye.